Hello, everyone. This is Ria Pahuja from Economic Times CIO, and I welcome you all to this session, Optimizing Your Technical Environment, the Google Cloud Platform Advantage. Businesses are growing, and so are their operational complexities. Scalability with agility has become an uncompromisable requirement for enterprises to remain relevant today. Their technical environments desire nimbleness, thus experimenting with a combination of technologies like the cloud, advanced networking infrastructures like CDN, and smart application management solutions like Kubernetes. While digital natives remain frenzied with a plethora of options for their technical setup, ending up with the multiple solutions working desynced and becoming a management nightmare, they can actually get all of these requirements addressed at one place. The Google Cloud Platform has delivered tremendous value to the firms in this aspect, demonstrated through real success stories. How can these corporates reduce their technical complexities to optimize performance and cost? And how can Google Cloud Platform be the key to this endeavor? We're going to answer all of these questions in this fireside chat between Google Cloud, Innoplexus, and Searce. Please join me in welcoming our speakers for today. In alphabetical order, we have Abhijit Keskar, Senior VP from Innoplexus, Ashwin Rathore, VP Innovation from Innoplexus, Ankit Sinha, Vice President from Searce, and Neil D'Souza, Regional Sales Manager from Google Cloud. A very warm welcome, dear speakers. How are you all doing?
Doing great.
Chat session, we're going to have an interactive question and answer round. We'll put up a slide which will have a QR code. Attendees need to just scan the code to send their questions to me. Do not hesitate to drop your queries on questions because the top 3 questions today from the audience will receive exciting gifts and goodies from Google. So do keep your phones ready at that time. Without any further delay, over to you, Neil. Please take this forward.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you and your families and your loved ones are safe during this time. Thanks, Ashwin and Abhijit, for your time as well. To get started, Abhijit, tell us more about Innoplexus. How did a 10-year-old company become an AI and blockchain pioneer in drug development?
Sure, yeah, thanks. In fact, first of all, I would like to thank Neil from Google and Ankit from Searce and ETCIO for this event. Feeling honored to be invited here, and I'm actually dialing in from Frankfurt. So good morning, good afternoon to everyone. What I'll do is I'll try to provide some brief context as to where we come from as Innoplexus and where we are heading, right? So Innoplexus started long back. I would say we have finished several rounds. We are a well-funded company, headquartered in Frankfurt, Germany, with offices in Pune, India, and we have 2 offices in the US, one in the Bay Area and another is in the New Jersey. With that background, Innoplexus actually found a niche right from the beginning in the life science space because we thought that is where we can make the maximum impact through the technology, especially because it can touch the lives of every human being. That said, we actually started with building a search engine for life sciences. It was we have crawlers like most of the other search engines, but that's where the similarity ends because we do have what we call as ontology of life science, and all the information that we gather, it is indexed using the ontology, which is a hierarchical ontology of life science. And that actually has been instrumental in really helping us grow various product suites that we have. So the foundation has been the ontology and the crawling and data extraction that we have been doing. And over the period, we have mastered that craft. We have tried to make various innovations in that aspect. And while doing the data aggregation, we also realized that if you look at the pharma companies, especially the big pharma companies who do drug development, they go through various cycles, right from the drug discovery to preclinical to clinical and the commercial phase. And we actually have been able to contribute to each of these phases. And the intent behind contributing is to make sure that the drugs come out sooner and at a lower cost as much as possible for the pharma companies. So the typical customers that we have are, the large pharma companies, global pharma companies, the biotechs, and the CROs. And we have been, recognized as a AI for life science player globally, especially because of the way we have been able to extract the insights without getting the actual data. We essentially work mostly on the metadata that we gather, and that's good enough for us to build this big life science uh, knowledge graph that we have built. I'll come to that in a moment. But in the process, we search through 95% of the life science universe, and we extract all the relevant information from various repositories, be it the clinical trial repositories, be it the regulatory repositories, be it patents. All of this information, the metadata around this information is aggregated, and that's where we build this large knowledge graph. And through the knowledge graph, we have been able to, the AI engine is smart enough to be able to, build relationships based on what knowledge the machine has been able to gather. So we have this knowledge graph which can tell you about relationship between various entities, be it the protein, be it the genes, the pathways, the indication, and various related entities. And this actually has many applications. So I'll come to that in a moment, but this is something which is kind of path breaking, I would say. And the direction that we have taken is quite innovative. The kind of work that we have done, spending about 300,000 person days so far. So that is a significant effort. We have been able to even publish 116 patents, and 40 of them have already been granted. These are the US and Europe patents, and many more in the pipeline. And I think I would say the real key to the success and the differentiator for us is the kind of people we have been able to hire. We have extremely good the campus program. We go to various top campuses in India. We have the internships and actual hiring very actively being done through these campuses. And we also have lateral hires. So typically, we go to various IITs, and we have been able to hire several PhDs in biology, data science, and life science, and all that. So that has been the highlight of the journey so far.
Oh, yes. We've had the pleasure of interacting with your talent and with your employees, and it's been really an enriching experience for us. Talking about pharma companies and drug development and you kind of being a catalyst in that process, tell us about OnTheSite and the evolution it has been through in the past few years.
Sure. So, in fact, I'll talk about the product suites that we have. Some of them are really interesting and worth knowing about. So we talked of the knowledge graph where we can provide a search engine. That was the building block. So we have this OnTheSite platform, which essentially helps the researchers in, say, typically a pharma company who is doing preclinical or clinical or even drug discovery. One can go and one can search for any concept. For example, if somebody is doing planning a drug development on lung cancer, one can go and search for, say, lung cancer or anything specific related to lung cancer, and the person would be able to get all the information that has ever been published, and it also will help the person to know what is the published world saying, what is the patent saying, what, and we also have integration with various data providers. So several companies use several data companies use us as a data exchange platform as well. So one can actually search through various such repositories and know the most relevant information which is aggregated using the ontology. For example, if somebody is searching for lung cancer, rest assured that all the information about, say, non-small cell lung cancer or small cell lung cancer would be made available, but the person would not get information about, say, pancreatic cancer. So that's why the difference here is the ontology that we use. It's a hierarchical ontology, and perhaps one of the most comprehensive ontology anywhere, with 30 million terms and growing. It's a self-learning ontology. And so coming back to OntoSite, the various applications that were built on OntoSite, one is the Discover, which is the search engine that we talked about. Then we also have one very interesting application called as Influence. So Influence is an application on this platform which can actually help you understand or identify who are the key opinion leaders in this space. So let's say if you talk of lung cancer or any of the indications, you actually can, or therapeutic areas, you can know who are the key people in various geographies, who are the speakers, who are the principal investigators or top doctors or CEOs, and how are they networked with various other such individuals. So if you want to know who are the, if you want to, let's say, plan your clinical trial, or if you want to plan your commercial launch, you would actually be served better by identifying the most influential people through this application. And then there is another application there which is called as Explore. So Explore actually is something where you don't know what you want to search, but you go there, you explore various relationships that were built through the knowledge graph. For example, if somebody wants to know which all are the pathways associated with a particular entity, say EGFR, or which all are the proteins associated with, say, lung cancer. All of that will be known. One also can look for pathways which are common to multiple therapeutic areas or multiple indication. So that's where, if let's say there is a pharma company who has a patent which is about to expire, they can look at various other ways of using the specific drug as well, if they are able to repurpose it. So repurposing is something that can be achieved quite well through such platforms. And of course, there also is an application called as Marketplace, which is a public blockchain-based marketplace where various individuals, all the silos of information that exist, which is not published or which is subscription-based, all of that can be traded, and pharma companies or anyone interested can acquire that information.
Oh, great.
So it's a blockchain-based platform. So that's the OntoSite that we have. Apart from that, we also have interesting extensions. Specifically, we have something called as D3 platform, which is the democratizing drug development platform, where we have applications like biomarker prediction or lead optimization or target identifying the right protein target for a particular disease, for example. Yes. So this is hardcore biotech kind of platforms. Then we also have had a lot of innovations over the year. We also have been able to successfully design new molecule structures as well, especially for the small molecules. We call it de novo molecules, through which one can actually work on designing these molecules, then work with wet labs to get it synthesized and tested and all that. So that also is something. In fact, we have some patent filed as well on molecules. Oh. So that is something which is innovative. And apart from that, during the mid of last year, we also launched an app for cancer patients. Yeah. It's called Curia, which Ashwin will talk about. Yeah. But that also has been a phenomenal success.
Wow. So on the topic of blockchain, Ashwin, I understand you're working on a groundbreaking project called OncoCoin, which is using blockchain to accelerate cancer research. Can you tell us more about that?
So thank you for asking this question. OncoCoin is actually an equitable ecosystem. What we are trying to do is to revolutionize patient participation in the cancer research. Usually these two worlds don't meet. There is an angle to, the privacy angle of it, the whole stigma, the fear of being, the syndrome of like feeling like a lab rat. So patients don't share their data. Okay. And on the other side, it's like a chicken and egg problem. Without the data, the drug discovery is also super slow. Okay. It takes billions of dollars and it takes around like decades. And cancer, so far I'm seeing it's improving, but still there is no cure as such. Okay. And to bridge this gap, OncoCoin using the blockchain actually serves as a great bridge. When you don't need to worry about your privacy, anonymity, and security, patients are more than willing to contribute to this research with real world data. Okay. Also, it was when we were designing the ecosystem, the strategy was super clear. First, go with an awesome product, which is Curia. This is our cancer patient-facing app, and it kind of like bridges the information gap, that people need. Three things that are super important for a cancer patient and their families. Okay, and that means, are there available treatment options, alternate therapies that are around me? Okay. Second is around clinical trials. Over 80% of the people don't even know about the clinical trials or the breakthrough research that is happening on cancer. That's how they feel it. Okay. 70% of the people don't have information they need. And this information is, life-saving. It's very critical at these times that they come to know. And third, but not the least, it's the second opinion. Over 85% of the people actually change their treatment regimen after taking a second opinion. Now, this is the plight of a patient. Okay, a lot of people can't even communicate these things to their own families. It's sad. 2% of the people actually even commit suicide without their family members knowing that they are diagnosed with cancer. Such is the plight of the cancer patient and their families. That's what we are trying to do with Curia. And the second step comes in when we are trying to grow a constantly evolving and a buzzing community around this app. We need all the stakeholders there, okay? Patients, their families, patient advocacy groups, okay? And the research institutions, healthcare providers, we need them all under this one umbrella of OncoCoin. And third, the most important step, after growing a successfully buzzing community and an active engagement there, we want to decentralize the power to them. We really, really want them to grow and evolve, as a community by themselves. We really don't want to have a control there. I think that's a successful remedy, I believe. In a way, we want to do this.
Yes.
The most important thing is to give the patient the control of the data. This whole feeling of, well, who is using my data? How much is it visible to others? What are they going to do? Are they going to link it with my Aadhaar or a social security number? It's a very, very problematic situation when it comes to, connecting the dots. And these days it's happening pretty vehemently. And it's scary to see, patients don't even have a control of this data. When they're submitting, the lab reports to physicians or hospitals or even your, pharmacies, no one knows where this data goes. And that's why what we want to really do is through mechanisms of security, anonymity, and that's where blockchain also helps us to give a total control to the patients. That's what we really want to do. It's aimed at involving patients to contribute to this research. And overall, we all as a society bring in cutting edge research and drugs faster. And that's why we want to break the circle of this chicken and egg problem, So that's the belief of, starting OncoCoin.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you're helping people who are in need and who can take advantage of all the vast amounts of data all over the web and with companies. It's not just only, researchers and patients. I believe that you have something called as in OncoCoin, we are able to allow investors or people or regular people to invest in cancer research. It's something called as utility token. How does that work?
Yes. So these days you must be seeing a lot of cryptocurrencies and the buzz around the coin. It's like a wild, wild west, frankly. There's thousands of coins there. But this was not the aim when we started, OncoCoin. Even though we call it an OncoCoin, but at the heart it's a utility token. Okay, and the value of the token is basically demand and supply governed. Not like, how many transactions happen, how many people are using it, that's not the aim here. And we want to do something which builds trust, okay? And trust is not just for patients with their data, trust is also investors, and I would call philanthropists actually, okay? The right word would be philanthropist who wants to contribute to our journey. And then trust comes when you go through strict checks. Follow the law of land, okay? We are not trying to do something like a pump and dump. Like you see, there are a lot of, scandals happening on the cryptocurrency, but we are not going to that way. We want to follow the law of land. We want to abide it very strictly, even when it comes to data security, data residence. Okay, that's how we imagine. We want to go live using a centralized exchange. Okay, and that's exactly the philosophy over here. And when I see OncoCoin, I see that OncoCoin will sustain itself with the ever-growing community, fueled by the patient data. It's like the food. And to be honest, we imagine OncoCoin ecosystem as an organism. And the way nature works, it has been built organically, trust me. So we started with Curia, okay, like a beating heart. It's right at the center of the ecosystem. Okay, and the icon is actually the heart, and like any other organ, heart is the first one that comes into play. I see the stakeholders as various organs, and we are just trying to build channels there. The blood that runs through all of this channel is OncoCoin, the utility token. That's how we imagine. And when we call it the event of decentralizing, we want to give this baby, okay, back to the community so that everyone contributes to making the right decisions. Everyone contributes to taking care of this ecosystem. And each and every stakeholder will contribute to it. Talking about investments, we have a really, really positive sentiment from a lot of people. Even considering that we want to follow the right path, and many of them, a lot of them philanthropists who care for a cause of cancers have come forward. And these are also big, philanthropists and organizations who wants to contribute and help in our journey, like hospital chains also. And the medium of exchange for the services, okay? Anything that happens in the ecosystem, it's a closed ecosystem, okay? Like I said, it's not a pump and dump game. The medium of exchange for any in-app services inside this ecosystem, that's OncoCoin.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear, and we wish you all the best with that. We hope wish you great success with that. So even about Curia, I understand that Curia also is part of that ecosystem, and you have launched it in Europe and India, and are now planning a global rollout. So how are you preparing differently for a global rollout, as compared to what you've done in Europe and India?
So like I said, it's super serious for us, and we are deeply respectful of the laws of the land. And every country, when it comes to, healthcare data and even the regulations around the financial and the whole crypto, like I said, it's a wild, wild west. Half of them are scared, half of them are skeptical, and some of them are more liberal. But whenever we do a launch, of course, it comes with its own challenges, okay? And we work very closely with the cancer landscape of this region that we launch. Today, EU5 and other few countries from Europe, India is a large contributor, and we are super serious about, India as such. It's personal, first of all, okay? And that's the idea. Tomorrow, going ahead, we plan to launch in other geographies like GCC and so on, okay? We have already come up with Australia just a few days back. And I'm seeing a great traction with around 300,000 users there on OncoCoin in such a short time. And I think it's so motivating for all of us to see this traction. It just boosts the whole confidence and the spirit of the team when we see every 20 seconds we find a new user coming on board to OncoCoin. That's how it works. And like I said, Curia is central to all of this. It's like the heart and soul of the whole ecosystem, correct? And we talk about patient empowerment here, right? Three things that are super important when it comes to, handling this challenge. First is you need to be accurate when you give your data, okay? Most important is, where is this coming from? There's so much of sensational information there, all kinds of, sorting mechanisms driven for ad revenues, whatnot. Okay, and also scandals like some people trying to change the opinion of geographies. It's a crazy wild west in terms of information as such. We want to be accurate. We want to be unbiased. Okay, super important to our philosophy is to be unbiased. one thing that Curia does really well in terms of removing or debiasing is we ask only one question. Well, how far can you travel? How far can you travel for your clinical trials? Okay. How far are you looking for in terms of your geographical reach? And that's it. Then even the second opinion physicians are sorted alphabetically. We give them all the information at one place. This is the one question we ask. And then everything follows after that. It's not sensational. We don't want to rank some physician or a therapy just because, some scoring mechanism. It's super tempting to tinker with these things. And trust me, I'm the VP of Innovation and Data Science. It's super tempting to play with these things, the whole math. But we don't want to do that. Third and most important, we validate it thoroughly. It's curated because lives are at stake. It's super serious. And like I said, it's personal. We want to be double, triple sure about what kind of information goes to my patients. Okay? Geographically correct of what drugs are available in that market legally. Okay? What are the physicians who are available nearby? Just nearby, no other thing. Okay? And also clinical trials, which could actually save lives. Trust me, it takes a decade for a drug to come out. So these are the three things we give. And that's the whole pillar. I would say these three are the super important pillars of the whole Curia rollout. Whenever we go to any geography, that's what we believe in. That's it.
Oh. Yeah, I can see how it really helps cancer patients and bringing to them technology which previously did not exist and giving them various options. So speaking of on-site Innoplexus in general, speaking of Curia, I understand that you would have made your choice of tech after looking at multiple platforms. What made you choose Google Cloud? What motivated you to choose Google Cloud and to help you address these critical needs of the pharma and healthcare sector? Abhijit, it'd be great to get your insights here.
Sure. Thanks, Neil. And the relationship with Google actually goes back to, I think, 2015 or 2016. And since then, it actually has been a very, very successful journey for us with Google. One thing that stands out is reliability and the services that we expected, everything always behaved the way it should. So that it became so transparent, we never had to worry about cloud as such. We just worry about the business problem that we are solving. And even when we were small, we got enough attention from Google to help us, remain focused on our work. And Google also is quite disciplined. I remember Google and Searce also have been visiting the offices every quarter, have been doing in-person meetings, understanding the business plans, providing suggestions on how to optimize the use of the cloud. So that actually has helped us a lot. It was quite, I would say, personalized attention that we had got even when we were small. And of course, the environment is quite safe in terms of data. We had absolutely no data breach or any risk to data that has ever happened. Of course, we also have been very careful at that. But then, all in all, it actually has been a very good and secured environment. It also was quite flexible. So sometimes when we are not on production, we want to use a cloud for maybe a staging or some internal development or QA environment. We also have been using the preemptive instances, which actually worked out to be quite cost effective. And that actually has been a hallmark of the Google as such. And coming to the actual business problem that we have been solving, the significant part of that is about data processing and AI, and Google has some phenomenal work that they have done on AI and even data processing. So a lot of APIs have been, for example, API for data processing, location API, translation API, all of those have been very actively being used for us. And it has, overall, it actually has been a good journey for us. It's a one-stop shop for everything that we need.
Yes, that's great to know, because you're actually able to train models, without writing a single line of code. It bridges the gap between, AutoML and full custom training jobs. And that's one of the one-stop shop, options available for AI algorithms on Google Cloud. What about you, Ashwin? Any thoughts on your side?
I mean, I would say interacting with you, Neil, has been a really comfortable time. I was rest assured I could, I could depend and rely on your team, I would say. And it was always fun. You kept us comfortable in terms of the whole time that we have interacted with you. I could trust. The whole angle of trust comes into play here. For me, when I speak about data science and, innovation that happens at Innoplexus, like Abhijit said, it's one-stop shop. Yes, of course. But also, you know what? It's one-stop shop, not just for algorithms, but also, to be honest, when I try to look at building an ecosystem, I see three things super important for me. How can the same players get me a global reach? Okay. And that I think Google does really, really well. Integrating this marketing services is super fluid when it comes to, tracking events on our product in terms of helping better, communicate the whole value offering to people and patients and their families. It's super useful there, and really like this because I don't think there is anyone else. And correct me if I'm wrong if I'm saying this, who gives us a reach to this huge potential user base. And this is across geographies. Okay? That's quite phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the legal issues that are super, super serious issues. And I love this part of Google when it comes to taking care of data sovereignty. Some of the countries don't want the data to go out. So there are concerns of where the data resides. And I'm not just talking about geographical boundaries. Sometimes it's important that the data doesn't even leave the device. Okay? And that is important. And like I said, we have to follow the law of land, right? It's super critical for us. And this is not a joke. And when you deal with such sensitive data, okay? Going ahead, I will tell you, I think I can envision that there will be a new punchline. They say, health is wealth, right? Health is going to be probably also related to credit worthiness and things like that. Everything in the world could be connected to your health record. I mean, trust me, when people say losing a credit card number is serious, I think losing your health record is 10 to 15 times more serious than that. It's just crazy how people could link this to a lot of things. Okay, and that's why we love the aspect of data privacy and the whole law that comes along with it. One more very important thing that I like about Google is the way they protect it through an end-to-end encryption.
Yes.
So 256-bit encryption for our data would take, I guess, a lot of time. And to give you a scale, I think, and also for my audience who's listening, it took us 10 to power 10 zeros years to be here. And that's about the age of universe, okay? And imagine you would need 20 more such universe years or universe things to crack this algorithm. It's crazy. I love it. And it's kind of, unbreakable. Even the US National Security Agency, NSA, kind of approves this kind of a super tight security. We love this. Our customers love this. And that's why the whole angle of trust comes into play. When we speak to them, they just say, well, that's also one of my concerns, right? I can't give data to you guys because, well, these are the things. How do you anonymize? How do you protect it? How do you make sure no hacker or international hacks can happen to your, the whole ecosystem? And then I say, well, I have a friend, Google, which helps me do that pretty well, and within the law and within the boundaries of all the legal things. That's how it helps. And
I can only imagine what you'll do if and when our quantum computers become active on cloud. Come on.
I'm telling you, even your quantum computers would take around 10 to power 20 years to crack 256-bit encryption.
We shall see. So Abhijit, looking at the streak of innovation we've already seen from Innoplexus, right? What more exciting developments or news can we expect in the near future?
Yeah, of course. In fact, the journey has actually taken us to a completely different level now. Our business models also have evolved over the period. So, for example, for us now, partnerships is a big, significant part of the business model. I mean, we have been doing traditionally the platform business, but the partnership business, especially partnerships with the pharma, CROs, and biotechs, have actually taken a completely different dimension now. Through these partnerships, we have been actually working with, for example, one example could be we have been working with, say, a specific biotech in developing a new molecule, and working with them for a longer term, wherein once the molecule becomes big, we get a royalty. A specific royalty ticket is associated with every partnership. So there are 12 such partnerships which are currently live and active. And even if one partnership clicks, let's say in the next 2 years, then it will completely change the game. So that is something which is quite unique. The platform business, the traditional one, but the partnership is a completely new business model. So that is what you can look forward to in the days to come in terms of news.
Great. And how was Searce as a partner? You know, how have they helped you in your entire journey along with Google Cloud? If you could share some thoughts on that.
Sure. In fact, I would say both Google and Searce have been quite good, specifically you, Neil and Ankit. Both have actually been very personally taking their job seriously, I would say, and supporting us. So Searce specifically have been helpful even at the nitty-gritty, or even, let's say, for example, if you have to do migration, they actually will help us through the entire process of migration. So let's say we had some specific thing that we wanted to migrate to the cloud from, say, on the ground. Searce actually had people deployed who could help us guide on things that matter to make sure the overall migration becomes very smooth for us. And for us, actually, Google and Searce is kind of a single entity because they have been working together well so much that we never had to think whether we have to call Google or Searce. They were always available for any help and support. So, and I would want to thank them for all the journey that we had with them for the last so many years. They always had dedicated people to support us, the account manager types. So that has worked out well.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. We're joined at the hip and we're essentially one team, you know, bringing value to our customers. And as you can imagine, you know, this kind of discussion has probably, you know, started a lot of questions in the viewers' minds. And I think we can now move on to our question and answer session, and see what questions that our listeners have.
Sure.
Neil, Ashwin, and Abhijit, thank you so much. If I am allowed, probably I'd also like to chip in a little bit at this point of time. This is definitely not on script, Ashwin, but you made so many points which obviously made me wonder as to where is really my health data. I have no clue. I have to probably take a day's vacation. I used to think I'll take a week's vacation to sort out my financial documents. Probably I'll need to take a month's vacation now to figure out where my health data is. Also, yes, we definitely, when as technologists that we talk about a lot of things, a lot of matters around encryption and everything. But when the client starts to put that in perspective, it takes an altogether different meaning. If I'm allowed, I'll probably just present a few slides very quickly, and we will then jump to the questions and answers. So, you know what good is a session if there are not enough slides to basically distract all of us. Just give me a moment, please. We've been in existence, started out businesses in India, US, UK, Southeast Asia. We've always kind of positioned ourselves as a tech startup that is meant to deliver value for tech startups. That's the whole idea for Searce's existence. There are too many beautiful problems out there to be solved. There are too many complex problems there to be solved. We would not we can't do it all alone. So we definitely would like to ensure that we are providing the armory for everyone else to solve those problems. The opportunity, and I hope some of you can see my slides. Can you?
Yes, we can.
Sure, thank you. The opportunity, and as I said, that every meeting with Innoplexus is like a complete hammering of intellectual information that comes your way, and it really pushes us to the edge to really see, okay, can we really make these kinds of businesses successful in our own humble ways with the limited knowledge that we might have around tech? Can we actually make a sizable contribution to businesses like Innoplexus? Things that we heard today around cancer, around drug discovery, around trying to ensure that the patient records are kept sensitively, all these things give us truly the purpose in our daily lives to see what else could we do that we could enable the teams at Innoplexus to succeed. We have been taking a lot of inspiration from folks there to see how we can also get the best talent out there to ensure that not just at Innoplexus, but perhaps at thousands of other clients, we could take the best of technology, we could take the best innovations happening on the applied AI side, we could take the best of big data and small data for them. I know that the word Searce is perhaps new to a lot of you. It stands for refinement. We've been serving 3,000 clients. Our partnerships with Neil and the entire Google Cloud ecosystem has allowed us to learn so much. And that's the purpose of winning awards is not to brag about the awards, but to let you know that we would be interested in taking all our battle scars to you. And ensure that we make the least number of mistakes as we go forward. In one slide, if I could highlight what Searce stands for, we would definitely be interested in starting with whatever modular problems and solutions that you would want us to discuss with you. It could start around cloud with the infrastructure modernization journeys. We love the idea of putting everything in a container. We would love the idea that if people worried less, as Abhijit was mentioning, worrying less about the underlying plumbing and automating everything on the infrastructure side. We have seen now concepts like blockchain really start to become a reality on the business application side. Our applied AI and ML teams are continuously working to ensure that there are some of our top data scientists looking to solve problems together with you. I could go on and speak about a lot of things, but yes, as you can imagine that with different clients, with the Rapidos and the Dunzos, and in Sri Lanka, we work with another company called PickMe. We are working on their location intelligence problems. With a lot of companies that grew from 5 employees to 20,000 employees, including Flipkarts and Oyos and Olas, we were always trying to help them scale their work paradigms together. So we have engaged with different companies in the ways that they wanted us to work with, and we have really tried to ensure that the great tech that Google's been building, the great products that have been constantly been improving every year, we can make them real for every single organization here. Our work cuts across industries. We were happy to work with companies based on the problems that they bring us. And then, of course, we try to stitch the best solution possible. Yes, we are a modern consulting firm. We focus on cloud services, data analytics, and AI. And this small sales pitch will end very soon because I want to ensure that you kind of do not get, your brains do not get hijacked out of the conversation that the Innoplexus team was having with Neil. But just kind of wrapping up the whole thing. Every organization starts with a very high aspiration and a big dream, and with very humble means, and we truly respect that. We know that we would like to come up with lean solutions during our preparation or planning. We don't want to over engineer things, but as you continuously grow from stage 1 to stage 2, 3, 4, 5, we definitely are there. The number of unicorns around the place, we definitely want to ensure. I mean, we don't want to stop at that IPO journey, but we definitely want to continue to ensure that our consultants, our engineers are always there working alongside your teams. lots of solutions that we have developed, and I'm also conscious of the time. But if I could speak about one particular applied AI solution that we have worked with a lot of fintech companies, with a lot of banks, with a lot of insurance companies today, is the middle one called Recognic. And this is just one of those areas where we realize that there are common industry challenges. Just onboarding users, it's just a hassle, and you need to figure out how would you do the KYC, and how would you do the data protection, and how would you manage the PII, and how would you redact all the sensitive information, but still ensure that the KYC is diligent. And just around that, we stitch a solution together, and Google helps us with some of the best work on the vision recognition, document recognition, and vision intelligence, and we've built Recognic on top. Like this, there would be several things that CS would be capable of ensuring that we can build something quickly for you. You can do a quick little POC and get into production. Thanks again to the Innoplexus team for highlighting that there is never a difference between talking to Google and talking to CS, because we do want the tech to talk for itself. Uh, every time we have to tell people about CS, we try to tell them go to the Medium blog, where our engineers are publishing things, rather than going to the website first, simply because we know that people come with very, very specific use cases. And I mean, it's not important how many clients I have. It's important if I can actually sit with you and solve your problems. And that's where we would like to get our Medium blogs, our tech teams to come talk to you all the time. Uh, the last piece, and this is deep, and I'll not take specifics here, but we know that we want to challenge the way things get done. That's the only way that the world will become a better place. We know that a lot of people make default choices. We would like to ensure that everyone starts to make the right choice, and everything that is required extra to make sure that the right choices are delivering right value, Sears will be there for you. So I would definitely want everybody that's listening to us to evaluate the merits of Google Cloud, to evaluate the merits of working with Sears, and we would not have a very long gestation period. We will begin to deliver value very, very quickly. I've also put my number in, my email ID out there. Always hiring. Last little play there. Thank you so much, and I would like to stop the share here, and would like to hand it back to Ria if there's anything else that we need to proceed with. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Ankit.
Yes, thank you so much, Ankit, for that wonderful presentation. Thank you for giving us that crux of the conversation that we have had. Going forward, we have Q&A round. Dear attendees, I am presenting to you the QR code on your screen. Please take out your phones, scan this QR code. It will take you to the page. Drop in your questions, and we'll have the questions here. We will be addressing them now. As stated, attendees, please drop in the questions through the QR code. The top 3 questions are going to get exciting gifts and goodies from Google. Going forward, the first question, stated attendees, please drop in the questions. The first question that we have today is, with increasing internet coverage on smartphones, laptops, computers, and DTH, how can all stakeholders ensure that an individual's data privacy isn't breached? Increasing internet coverage on smartphones.
So could you repeat? Somehow there was some echo.
Yes, I am so sorry for that. The question says, sir, with the increasing internet coverage on smartphones, laptops, computers, and DTH, how can all stakeholders ensure that an individual's data privacy isn't breached?
Sure. I can take that up. Okay. So specifically talking about the data in the context of, for example, the life science and patients data, which is the most critical one. The data security actually has 2 aspects to it. One is when you get the data, you make sure that the data is encrypted well. And once we have the data, make sure the data is protected well. So for encryption, typically the thing that we do is it is encryption at source. Firstly, the anonymization of data at source, and then encryption, and then all through the data is encrypted. Even the applications which talk to the data while in the database, all of that is through encryption. Even if you want to, let's say, query the data, you will be able to see only a garbage because it is all encrypted. And apart from that, as an enterprise, as an organization, we also comply with, we are GDPR compliant, we are ISO 27001 company. But most importantly, we also do very frequent vulnerability and penetration testing of our entire environment. So that actually has been helpful for us. We never ever had any attack that has come in so far. So I would say that's the way to go. It doesn't matter which device you are on. Yeah.
Exactly. That's great.
Yeah.
We also have Pushkar here from Google Cloud, who's been humble enough to join us to answer a few questions. Pushkar, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, probably I'll just continue that Abhijit mentioned, right? So at Google Cloud, right, we position ourselves as a trusted cloud. So we strongly believe defense in depth, right? So be it endpoint security or infrastructure security or application security, right? So we have a lot of tools and controls that we provide to our customers, right? So here idea is to leverage them well, right? And of course, always security is a shared responsibility model between cloud provider and the end customer. Yeah.
Sure. The next question up here we have is, how will using a token help patients get better cancer care? Ashwin, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Very interesting question. I was just waiting, and thank you for asking this question. So if you want to put a value to the health record, you could use some kind of a currency. But you know what? That would be a point solution in time. Okay, everything has a shelf life. That's one. And the kind of data we need, the real world data, and we are talking about sequence data here and DNA sequence data, something like liquid biopsies and tumor sequence data. That's what we're talking about. To put a value to that using a dollar would be, I would say, temporary, a point solution in time, as I said. But let it evolve. Let it evolve in a closed ecosystem where all the stakeholders can then decide. Now, a dollar doesn't do that. That's why a utility token really fits in well. And trust me, when I talk about this as a utility token, all the stakeholders together, and as how the value raises or changes with the demand and supply. The crux is demand and supply, remember. So when the pharma wants it, or the CROs or the research organization need it, and the amount that is being supplied, together decide it. And that, I think, is a more sustainable, real way of putting a value to it. That's why utility token works the best.
Sure. Thank you for that. Ashwin and Abhijit, my next question is also for you. The question says, how do you think having a partner helped you during the entire migration process?
Sure, I'll start and then Ashwin can pitch in. Firstly, when we were actually planning for migration, we actually would have gone through a traditional project planning process and execution. But Searce, who has done that several times for their various customers, actually helped us pretty much in terms of planning where the landmine lies and how to get it done very quickly and efficiently. So I think the learning over the period that Searce had helped us. Yeah.
And if I'm hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, please, Ashwin.
Yeah, so having a partner like Google and Searce works, wonders actually for us in this case. Like I said, spreading the word to a partner which has a really good reach helps a lot. Integrating algorithms, like I said, one-stop shop into our existing ecosystem and the tech stack really speeds up things. And we believe in modular things, and we believe things will change in future. So the tech stack itself should be in a way designed, and I'm really, I'm an advocate of Kubernetes kind of a setup. I just love the whole idea of Kubernetes kind of a setup, and that really works here. In every small thing, even a small project that any data scientist or a backend or a front-end person does, I think it works just amazing. That's the philosophy we are looking at. Things which will evolve, things that we need to replace should be super fluid. That's the idea. And I think going ahead, even with Coin or the app or more services in app that we are going to introduce, I think this works really well. That goes in line with our philosophy as well.
Actually, hearing Abhijit and Ashwin, right, and knowing what they want to do for the future, their vision for the future, helping people in need, and looking at the various technology options available, I am just so hopeful. I know that we're going to be doing a lot of innovative things in the coming months and years.
Exactly. Ankit, you talked about Searce in the end, and the people here would like to know more about the benefits of engaging with a partner like Searce for GCP migration versus doing it directly through Google.
So we are fun people to work with. That might be the most important reason. We would definitely ensure that any kind of a project becomes an overhead for an organization that's kind of running at a very fast pace. Especially if you go to an engineer and try to tell them that you need to stop doing your actual production app work and now you need to start worrying about some kind of a lift and shift or some kind of a back-end activity which is good in the long term, it's always going to meet with certain amount of resistance, uncertainties, and all that goes along with any internal project. What we obviously would try to do is to ensure that you stay focused on the business, and we will definitely, as I said again, the most important thing is we'll be fun people to work with. You would like to do more projects with us. We also love technology, and what we try to do is to take the best technology out there and make it work for that particular client. And what that does is it brings us repeat business for sure, but it also allows companies to think non-linearly, which is to say exactly like the things that Ashwin was mentioning. You want to have a very robust platform and make it very nimble. And these things don't go well together always. And it's a challenge that we would love to take. And that's all I'll say. But yeah, we are fun to work with. The third time, if I could repeat that. Thank you.
That's an important part.
Yes, that's important.
Our fun has rubbed off on you all, so of course.
Yeah.
Cool.
So seeing the clock ticking by, we're taking one last question. And the question here is for you, Neil. How has Google Cloud helped organizations during the pandemic? If you can help us with a few examples.
So when the pandemic struck, a lot of companies realized that they didn't really, their plans on on-premise were, very difficult to scale immediately. And what we saw was that certain sectors across the board were facing a huge demand, and many companies were not able to keep up with that. So the pandemic struck, hit everyone hard, put supply lines under pressure. But many companies who were relying on cloud technology, many of our Google customers who are there, we empathized with them. We understood the challenges that they are facing. Using our infrastructure, they were able to scale efficiently and also then add features to their products which they probably did not think were required at one time, or probably on the back burner one time. Through our partners, through our engagements, we've been helping companies scale up, ramp up, and using our reliable and secure technologies. So that's one way we've been helping our customers.
Pushkar, would you like to add anything to that in respect to Google Cloud?
Yeah, sure. So as Neil mentioned, right, so we helped a lot of customers, right, during pandemic. So we led with the solutions, right, be it a VDI solution or the collaboration tools that we have, right. So it just seamlessly scales, right. People can connect remotely and works just doesn't stop, right. So that is the whole idea.
Great. Thank you so much for being here with us for this whole conversation and helping us answer our attendee questions. Thank you again, dear attendees. I'm equally grateful for all of you for being with us. Again, you will be communicated about the prizes and the goodies. Until next time, please stay safe and stay connected. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.